Hey guys, so here's another video for today, and this time I'm gonna be reviewing all of the Monarchs with inner conflict. So what does inner conflict do? It's basically a change of heart, but you pay half your life points, and the monster that you took cannot attack directly. So in a sense, it's better than change of heart because you have access to change of heart during the whole duel. But since the monster cannot attack directly, what you do is that you play the deck with tributes. So that's what we call Monarchs. We don't refer to Monarchs as the traditional Monarchs like Caius or Mobius. We refer to them as monsters that you can tribute for inner conflict or soul exchange. So one tribute monsters. Anyways, so since we have this deck, I want to review all of the possible monarchs, quote unquote. So which ones should you play? Which ones you shouldn't play? How one is better than the other in what scenario? So yeah. If I skip the Monarch, it's because I don't think you should be considering playing it in a competitive environment unless you just want to have fun and you don't care about losing. So anyways, in our Parashaf, it has a good effect, but since we don't have a main phase 2, I feel like drawing one card doesn't make up for the fact that it has really low stats. So for that reason, I don't consider Air Knight Parashaf competitive in Speed Duels. Yeah, skip. So we have Blowback Dragon, the first one. That's actually really good because it has the potential to break a card every turn, which is good against stall, for example. And it's also good in general. But the problem is that it has only a 66% to destroy. And yeah, I think many of you have seen the meme where I get 6 sales in a row. That can happen. So because of that, the effect is not that reliable, but it's dark, so it's really good if you play Allure of Darkness. But other than that, yeah, it only has a it's decent, but it only has 23 attack, but the problem is that it has 12 defense. And the problem with that is that there's a lot of Book of Moons in this format, so sometimes I just summon Blowback, I do my inner conflict play, I summon Blowback, and then Book of Moon, it's face down, and then the next turn they have 2 monsters, so they attack over it. I don't have Spear Karibo or anything to protect, so that's how I lose the Blowback. So for this reason, I think not many people are playing it, and because the effect is not a guarantee. Visor Shock, it has a really good effect if the format is about face-down cards, which is not, so we skip it. I see some people playing this card. It's good to get some damage, but I think it's not it's not a good card to play. But yeah, skip. So next off, we have a really good one, and is widely played. Is Red Enchanter. Basically, it could discard a card from the hand from your opponent, but it also gains counters. So if you have 2 counters, you can discard. So people play Book of Moons, people play Allure of Darkness, so it's easier to get counters this format as opposed to previous formats. And like I said, Book of Moon is a really big card, so this card has 22 defense, which is really awesome because it can last longer on the field, and it could also potentially boost the attack even higher. There was a game that I won because I got this card so many counters that it could run over XYZ Dragon Cannon. But yeah, really good card. Oh, also it's a dark, so it's a fodder for Allure of Darkness. Next we have Hades. Hades used to be decent because we used to have stall cards, some Bina, Apprentice Magician, but right now I don't think this is the right meta for Hades, but you can still consider it. It also has more attack than any other Monarch. So yeah, Hades. Next up, we have Freed. And Freed, I would only play Freed if it's a warrior deck. The immunity to Book of Moon, I don't think that's enough to play Freed if you're not playing a warrior deck. I think if you play Freed, then you want to take advantage of both effects. But yeah, Freed is decent because, like I said, it's immune to Book of Moon, but it's not immune to Parasite for some reason. So yeah, that's an issue for it. But we have Jinzo that's immune to traps, and this one is immune to most spells. So yeah, that's cool. Next we have Gap, and Gap has a really good effect, but this is not the right format for Gap. I know people play Apprentice Magician in the package, and yeah, maybe Gap could see some use right now, but I don't think right now it's that valuable. So yeah, I'll put it anyways. And also it's a dark, which has Allure Synergy. Okay, this one we skip. Has too low stats, even if it has a good effect, and we don't even have a main phase 2, so yeah, drop. Next off we have Grandmark, and a lot of people are playing this card because it gives you instant card advantage. Now the problem is that it has a low defense, and like I said, Book of Moon is all over the format, so it's a card that's gonna die by battle probably, especially if it targets a Book of Moon and they chain the Book of Moon. But still, it has a good stat line and instant card advantage. It gets rid of a face down card, so yeah. Next off, we have Jinzo. Now Jinzo has seen less play because there are other options, and the problem with Jinzo is that if there's a Book of Moon, then you gain no advantage by playing Jinzo other than using the skill to tribute. If you notice, at least Grandmar gives you advantage, at least Gap flips a monster, and at least Red Enchanter and Blowback give you advantage potential. But Jinzo does nothing except stun for traps. And I think that's why people are not playing it too much. But you have to take into consideration that because spellproof armor is a thing, and there's also an Odeon trap deck, so it's not necessarily a bad idea to play Jinzo because there are still traps in the meta. And I personally lost to 2 Jinzo decks because the only trap I had at the moment was Floodgate, and I didn't have my Book of Moon. So yeah, you could still consider running Jinzo. Also a dark for a little darkness, and that's the problem with Grandmark, it's not a dark. But yeah, Kaiser Glider, I think this one is seeing a lot of play. People are favoring it because it has good defense, which and by the way, Jinzo, it has low defense, so Book of Moon, then you can run over it easily. But this one has high defense and also cannot be destroyed by monsters with 24, even if it's in defense mode. So yeah, and also the effect, it's very decent because if, let's say, XYZ Dragon Cannon targets Kaiser Glider and destroys it, so you get to bounce the XYZ still, right? But yeah, it has good stat line and a really decent effect. You also have to consider that Sphere Karibo is in the game, so monsters with high defense are not a bad idea. So we skip. There's beast decks seeing Manticore. I'm not gonna go over them because that's not generic, that's a specific deck. Um, Alright, and lastly, we have Spell Canceller. And Spell Canceller, it negates all spells. And like I said, there's a lot of Book of Moons, but there's also traps, and there's also Inner Conflict skill, and XYZs can still destroy it with monster effects. So Spell Canceller, I don't see much use to it. I wouldn't play it because it has low stats. Like even a Breaker, if they summon Breaker, then you need to protect Spell Canceller, and you can't use your own spells, right? So, but yeah, it's still an option. It's really good against magnets because of the field spell. But yeah, that's the issue. And the other issue is that it's not a dark, so it doesn't have Allure synergy. Kaiser Glider has the same issue. It's also not a dark. So if you're gonna play Speed Duels, you have a lot of dark options for the Inner Conflict skill, but you have really good options that are not dark, but still worth playing for some people or some decks. And personally, if you ask me what are the best ones, I would say Kaiser Glider, Dark Red Enchanter, Blowback Dragon, because even despite everything, it's still a good effect and it's still a dark, right? And finally Jinzo, in case that the Odeon Trap deck becomes popular. So that's my video. Thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas.